Hi, friends. Welcome to Suqqu's pre-holiday 2022 partial collection. I was sent a few items from the team. Thank you again to Suqqu Europe for the generous gift, and then I ordered the rest of the items. I don't have all the items because one, I'm still waiting for the liquid. What is the technical name? Excuse me, my apologies for not having that. The Glow Touch Eyes. I was sent the shade 109. I ordered 110, but that is still on the way from Selfridges. And I had tried to order one of the sheer matte lipsticks. I was sent number 113, the red color that I have on now. I wanted to purchase 114, but Selfridges said that it was unable to be shipped overseas. I don't know why. This is the first time I've encountered issues ordering sheer matte lipsticks from Selfridges, but unfortunately I don't have the pink color with me, so I was disappointed because I wanted to check out how they look. Even though I'm not crazy about pinks, I was intrigued. I wanted it. And if it's your first time encountering this brand, Suqqu is a luxury Japanese cosmetic brand known for their exquisitely formulated makeup products. And Suqqu just released their pre-holiday 2022 collection inspired by the northern light on the winter sky. Let's start out with their signature color quad 118 in Gensouya. The matte yellow and pearlescent pink hue are evocative of shimmering stars inspired by the aurora borealis, which emits a variety of colors. Next, 119 Touyakou, the smoky purple and deep shimmering blue create a cool and clear impression. Glow Touch Eyes in 109, Houkiboshi, a flattering frozen pale blue color with an ice-like pink pearlescent shimmer. And of course, I wanted 110 Senko, the delicate icy pink that's on its way, hopefully. Pure Color Blush 134 Kyokuya, a warm orange brown inspired by the golden flicker of a lantern to create a soft glow. Pure Color Blush 135 in Tsukanoma, a dark purple with a reddish hue, reminiscent of a cold winter flush. Next, we have the sheer matte lipstick 113 Yoizome, a deep blood red that exudes elegance with a single application. This lipstick has major pigmentation, I was pleased to discover. And 114 Seisai, a soft frosty pink with a hint of purple for a on finish. I couldn't order that one. I was so disappointed. And lastly, the Nuance eyeliner 107 in Snow Gray, a light gray with a bluish white tint inspired by snow and ice. Let's start off with 118 Gensouya, the yellow and pearlescent pink, and both the signature color quads are limited edition. The copper color that I first applied here, it's so easy to just whip on the lid and through the crease. Now, it does have some specks in there in terms of the sparkly, arcly, glitzy glitz, but I still feel fairly smooth, but I adore the base color in this shadow because it's so easy as a one and done shadow, and it's not too orangey on my skin tone. Maybe if you're lighter, it will have a little more of a warmer look to it. If you're deeper, it'll have more probably of a copper gold highlight, but I think it's fairly simple to apply, and I'm happy that Suqqu came out with a warm palette and a cool palette because I do think these two color stories are very much prominent in winter inspiration. Cabin, lantern, by the fire, those are very warm and orangey in tone, and then you have the snow, ice, more cool tone palette that exists in the season of things. And I followed with the pink shade that it reminds me of VR Pink from Pat McGrath, a little more warm, but has that neon flip when the light hits. And the matte yellow is very soft. I think this will serve just as a finishing color for the first shade I applied that has really nice sparkle to it. But if you wanted to finish the edges with a matte shade that was warm, I think those match very well. And the sparkle overlay shade has a warm taupe base with a blue flip, and I absolutely love that combination. I applied it over the more bronze shade to give it that flip on the center of the lid, but you could very much just wear this all over the lid as is. It's not going to have as much color as the first shade I applied, but the blue blue flip I think is so unique, not overall in the makeup space, but I think unique to Suqqu, and I adore the fact that they include these type of duochrome flip shades in their collection, especially in a formula that I feel easy to use and more approachable than some that I've encountered in my own collection. And 119 Touyakou, the smoky purple, that first steely gray that I applied, I mean, speak about an easing one and done smoky eye for the day. And the shade does have a slight blue shift in it. It's satin. It doesn't have the same sparkle texture as the other two shadows in 119. I love this all over the lid and crease. I think it was so easy to apply and definitely more of a sophisticated smoky eye that doesn't require like that black eyeshadow or a deep matte. It's just very simple in the texture, smooth to blend, but the tone, it's almost like a soft, warm gray purple. It's great, and I think easy to just place all over the eye. I placed the matte lilac shade on the inner corner. You could have used this to blend out the edges of the satin if you wanted, and then the sparkly blue, which I placed on the inner part of my lower lash line. This has a little more sparkle than the satin shade, so if you wanted to keep that texture a little more low-key, if you didn't want as much sparkle on the lid, you can place that color on the lower lash line or inner lower lash line. And the blue flip shade, which reminds me of VR White, I think in Mothership 1 Subliminal. Tap it on the lid, will present that blue flip, but again, very easy to achieve. You don't need to worry about fallout or dryness or flakiness. Again, the texture is a little more fine than like a VR texture from a Mothership palette, but probably more advantageous to use or maybe more favorable to you if you want the sparkle but don't want like the crazy sparkle texture. And then I apply the Glow Touch eyes on top, and this reminds me of the Danessa Myricks. I forgot the name of the product. It's flaky in texture, and I applied it solo on my eyes, and I much prefer that application because I think the iridescent finish to this product is best appreciated when applied on bare lids. You don't have to worry about the shadow being disrupted, although I found that when I apply the Glow Touch eyes on the shadow, it wasn't that disruptive, but it does look more flaky than, let's say, this shadow here if I just decided to use that. I applied this on my bare lids when it came in the mail yesterday, and I just like that lighter presentation of iridescent, flickering light if you didn't want to use shadow but just wanted to use the Glow Touch eyes. And this is pretty much how it will look like on the lids. If you tap it on, it will have that blue flip, and I can only imagine the pink will present the same effect. I'll play with it a little more, but I think maybe best to be applied on your bare lid, and then you can go with some shadows if you wanted to refine the look a little bit more. Going into the Pure Color blush shades, both are limited edition. I applied 134 Kyokuya, the warm orange. As you see here, it doesn't have a lot of color payoff on my skin tone, and I can only imagine maybe will be a highlight on a deeper skin tone and will show up a little more warm on lighter skin tones. The highlighter strips are great, so you have the warm yellow swatch and more of like a champagne gold. Combined presents a beautiful highlight on my cheekbones without a doubt, but the orange shade is very light, and I don't know if I will use this often simply because when I see myself, well, let me grab a mirror. There's obviously color on my cheeks and maybe not recognizable on camera because the light is taking some of that color away, but the highlight is fantastic. That I adore. Unfortunately, I don't know how much I would rely on this color for cheek color. I would either apply my Tiger Palette Hourglass products or even the Gucci blush I just purchased. Heck, I will probably use the Natasha Denona Dream Cheek Trio over this color. I do like the warm undertone, and perhaps this will be my color to use if I didn't want a lot happening on the cheeks, just a little bit. And I think it more noticeable because I do have this on the Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation in shade 11, which is more of that neutral undertone. I could only assume if I were to apply this on 12 or 11.5 that the warm orange hue would not have been as noticeable. But that's just my assumption. Next, 135 Tsukanoma, the dark purple. Despite how rich this looks in pan, this has very light color payoff. So that might be a good thing or disappointing thing. If you were looking for like a rich wine berry shade, this will give you a light serving of that shade. What I did was use my Chikuhodo contour brush and stamped a little more color into the hollows of my cheeks to get a stronger serving of sculpt, and that's exactly what it did. But because the blush is so lightweight, it doesn't look too heavy, and I'm kind of loving how that appears. And because the application is so light, you can place this on your cheeks without the fear of it looking too muddy or bruised. And the highlight, I would say the highlight strips from 135 are more luminescent, kind of radiant, versus this is a little more shimmery, sparkly. And maybe that's because of the texture, but definitely the warm orange palette has a little more shimmer to the highlight, whereas the deep purple is more of like that iridescent finish. And you can see it has like that very light blue flip, which I think works beautifully with the reddish purple blush. And as you know, the Pure Color blush formula I think is one of the best powder blush formulas in the market. It's soft, finely milled, silky on the cheeks. Although a powder, the texture doesn't look dry on the skin. It almost looks luminous, very easy to blend, soft on the skin. And I love the fact that there are highlighters in the blush palette. I think it makes it easier to edit how many products you bring along. So you got your blush side and your highlight side, but I understand how people like to pack separate products and they don't like to roll products in one compact because the textures might cross-contaminate, but I think these are so soft that I don't mind having this blue color on the cheek. It'll be fine. And the sheer matte lipstick. I love a muted red. I think it is so wearable, everyday friendly. And yes, you can wear a brighter blue red like Elson, for instance, or even of the red from the Lisa Eldridge line. I just think that color asks for a lot. Like, it's a statement lip color, but to have something that's red but muted, still rich at the same time, I feel makes it more wearable and accessible. And for some reason, despite me having two different eye palettes, it kind of works out. So yes, this might look a little intense with 115. So sure, this might look a little intense with 119. This might look more aligned with what the color story is, because the pink lipstick probably will look better with the blue Smoky palette, but it's alright. I think it works out. And if I just wanted to do mascara or maybe a wing liner and leave my lids bare, this color would be so pretty. It's the grown and sexy type of a red tone. It's just the right amount of color, and the sheer matte lipstick consistency, it's matte, but it's not dry, and it's such a smooth application, very silky on the lips, easy to apply, and it doesn't feel dry as you wear it, and really nice to reapply throughout the day. And I'm looking at it now, it almost is like a deep plum red. I love it. Super fan of the sheer matte lipstick formula, and I failed to demonstrate the Nuance eyeliner. I was like, I knew I'm forgetting something. This definitely is what the description outlined, the blue off-white hue, and you can see it. I think a great pairing to the 119 color quad, and also a great opportunity if you wanted to be more graphic. Like, you could do the white dots just to kind of emulate snow, I don't know. You could do stars, and what's fantastic about the actual liner is that it's not a watered down color. Like, you can see that white hue, and just allows you to play a little bit if you wanted to, again, be a little more graphic with your liquid liner. I would make sure you wipe the felt tip before you cap it, just so you could get any shadow residue off the pen. But that's fantastic. And really easy to use too. It's not so inky that it's hard to control, and the flow is the right amount of consistency where I think you can be successful in creating a wing. So that is it, fam. I hope this video helped. Again, not forcing you to buy anything, but if you had your eye on these products and it appears that I think all the pieces are pretty much limited edition. The blushes are limited edition, the lipsticks limited edition, Nuance liner shit. I did not check before filming to see what's available still, so my apologies in advance. I will leave all the links down below. They are affiliated and your consideration is always appreciated. Let me know what you had your eye on and what you're thinking about getting. I'm thrilled with this collection. If I were to compare it with the previous autumn collection, I have to go back and check those out because again, when you're trying new makeup, you forget what you have, and I have to then revisit what the autumn collection was like. But from what I remember, it killed. I was just happy to grab the wine blush because Suqqu releases can be a little crazy and I didn't want to miss out. So of course I was up 4 in the morning, but it was not on the website. It dropped, I think, around maybe 8-9 a.m. Eastern time. And again, I just wanted this blush because it looked incredible. I was expecting a little more pigmentation just from the photos, but no surprise to Suqqu in delivering just more sheer washes of color where the user has better control over the intensity of the application, especially if you wanted to use these types of shades, but you were unsuccessful because again, it was just too much powder, too much pigmentation on the first blend. But this would be absolutely fine. And if you wanted more color, I would then use a stiffer brush. So if you wanted more pickup, I would use maybe an undyed goat hair brush. This is one of Sonia's fan brushes, and that's going to lay down more color than, let's say, the dyed goat hair. So depending on the finish and the amount of pigmentation you wish to have on your skin will determine what brush you use, but that's going to give you a little more color on the actual cheeks if you wanted to keep it higher on the cheekbones here, so it could be more of a sculpting moment. You can do that as well. But those are just my closing thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Have you picked up anything already? I would love to know your thoughts. I'll see you down in those comments, fam. And until then, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review tutorial, Suqqu extravaganza, or another brush video. Take care, and I will see you again soon.